Big stories, big pressure, big nights at Anfield. This is Anfield Central, your home for the latest Liverpool news, transfers and sharp analysis. No noise, just what matters to real Reds. So if you love Liverpool, hit subscribe and stay ahead of every story. Let's get into it. Liverpool have 6 players missing versus Galatasaray as Arne Slot handed fresh double blow. Liverpool FC are heading to Istanbul for their Champions League last 16 clash with Galatasaray SK, but manager Arne Slot will be forced to cope with several important absences. Liverpool have travelled with a 21-man squad for Tuesday's first leg tie, and that group also includes a number of youth team players due to injuries across the squad. There had been some positive news in recent days, with Jeremy Frimpong and Florian Wirtz returning to action recently, while Alexis Allister trained normally after limping off late in the FA Cup win against Wolves. However, 2 fresh setbacks were confirmed before the team travelled to Turkey, with goalkeeper Alisson Becker and winger Federico Chiesa both missing from the squad. Speaking before the match, Slot explained that Chiesa had been unable to train due to illness. He said the Italian winger felt unwell the night before training, which meant he was unable to take part in the session and ultimately did not travel with the team. Slot also addressed the situation surrounding Alisson, revealing that the Brazilian goalkeeper actually trained with the squad before feeling discomfort late in the session. According to Slot, medical staff assessed the issue, and both the player and club decided it was better not to risk him for such an important match. The Liverpool boss did offer a small piece of good news, suggesting that Alisson could still be available for the weekend clash against Tottenham Hotspur FC. With Alisson absent, goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili is expected to start between the posts for Liverpool in Istanbul. The squad travelling to Turkey also includes several academy players such as Amara Nallo, Kieran Morrison and Cornel Misture as Slot manages the squad's injury situation. Liverpool are still missing 4 long-term absentees as well, including Connor Bradley, Giovanni Leone and Wataru Endo, who are not expected to play again this season due to injury. Meanwhile, there is cautious optimism over the recovery of Alexander Isak, who has been sidelined with a broken leg since December but could potentially return later this month. If he does return soon, it would ease the attacking workload currently carried by Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike was rested during the FA Cup win at Molineux, along with Milos Kerkez, but both players are expected to return to the starting lineup in Turkey. There is also a strong possibility that Wirtz could start after his cameo appearance last week, while Ibrahima Konate and Frimpong may also come back into the team. Liverpool will be hoping for a very different result this time around, after losing 1-0 to Galatasaray earlier in the Champions League phase back in September. The second leg of this last 16 tie will take place next week, meaning Slot's side will be desperate to secure a positive result in Istanbul. What do you think? Can Liverpool overcome these injury problems and beat Galatasaray away from home? Let me know your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Liverpool updates. Arne Slot gives Alisson Becker injury update and points to Liverpool Champions League advantage. Liverpool FC returned to Istanbul on Tuesday night for their Champions League last 16 clash with Galatasaray SK, but they will have to face the challenge without first-choice goalkeeper Alisson Becker. Despite that setback, manager Arne Slot believes Liverpool could actually benefit from their previous experience of playing in one of the most intimidating atmospheres in European football. The Reds were beaten 1-0 at Rams Park earlier in the Champions League phase back in September, a match played in front of more than 50,000 passionate Galatasaray supporters. That night, Liverpool had to deal with relentless whistling from the home crowd every time they had possession, a noise that echoed throughout the stadium for the entire match. Speaking ahead of the return to Istanbul, Slot admitted the atmosphere was something even his experienced players had rarely encountered. He explained that the level of noise surprised everyone inside the stadium, especially when Liverpool had the ball, as the whistling from the crowd became incredibly loud and constant. However, Slot believes that experience could now work in Liverpool's favour. According to the Dutch coach, the positive aspect is that his players have already experienced the hostile environment once before, meaning they will be better prepared this time.
Still, Slot was quick to remind everyone that the challenge will not only come from the crowd, but also from Galatasaray's quality on the pitch. While Liverpool prepared tactically for the game, the Reds have also been forced to deal with a late injury concern involving Alisson Becker. The Brazilian goalkeeper took part in open training before the squad travelled to Turkey, but felt discomfort near the end of the session. After being assessed by medical staff, both the player and the club agreed it would be too risky for him to play in such an important match. As a result, Liverpool decided it was better for Alisson not to travel with the squad to Istanbul. Slot did offer some positive news though, suggesting the injury does not appear to be serious. The Liverpool boss said there is a strong chance Alisson could return in time for Sunday's Premier League match against Tottenham Hotspur FC. With Alisson unavailable, Georgian goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili is expected to step in once again between the posts. Elsewhere, Liverpool could welcome several players back into the starting lineup. Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong and Ibrahima Konate are all expected to return to the team after recent rotations. However, there is another setback for Slot, as Federico Chiesa has also not travelled to Turkey. Slot confirmed that Chiesa missed training after feeling unwell the night before the session, and therefore did not travel with the squad. Liverpool will now aim to overcome both the intimidating atmosphere and their injury setbacks as they look to take a positive result back to Anfield ahead of the second leg. So the big question for Liverpool fans is this: can the Reds handle the Galatasaray atmosphere and still take control of the tie? Let me know your predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed this update, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Liverpool news.
Liverpool moves step closer to a sensational Premier League signing. Liverpool FC could be edging closer to a major defensive signing this summer, with reports linking the Reds to Micky van de Ven from Tottenham Hotspur FC. Liverpool are expected to strengthen their defence in the upcoming transfer window, especially with uncertainty surrounding the long-term future of Ibrahima Konate. The French centre-back's current contract situation has raised questions inside Anfield, and that has pushed the club to explore options for a new elite defender. One name that has quickly moved to the top of Liverpool's shortlist is Micky van de Ven, the Dutch international, who has been one of Tottenham's standout performers this season, despite the club struggling near the bottom of the Premier League table. Reports suggest Liverpool's chances of signing Van de Ven have improved significantly in recent weeks. That is because FC Barcelona, previously seen as Liverpool's biggest competition for the defender, are believed to have stepped away from the race. According to those reports, Barcelona currently do not have the financial capacity to meet Tottenham's asking price for the Dutch defender. Liverpool, however, are believed to be in a much stronger financial position to potentially complete the deal. Tottenham are said to value Van de Ven at around £100 million, which would represent a record-breaking fee for the club. But that valuation could drop dramatically if Spurs fail to avoid relegation from the Premier League. With Tottenham currently sitting around 16th in the table, the possibility of missing European football or even dropping to the Championship could force the club to sell some of their most valuable players, and Van de Ven would almost certainly be among the most attractive options on the transfer market. The situation has become even more interesting because the defender has reportedly rejected Tottenham's initial offer of a new 5-year contract. Talks between the club and the players' camp are currently on hold, with strong interest from several European giants also circulating around the market. Despite Tottenham's difficult season, Van de Ven has still delivered impressive individual performances. The Dutch defender has recorded 4 goals and 1 assist in 27 Premier League appearances during the 2025-26 campaign. His incredible recovery pace and defensive leadership have made him one of the most highly rated centre-backs in the league. However, Liverpool's final decision may ultimately depend on the transfer fee Tottenham demand this summer. If Spurs are relegated, Van de Ven could suddenly become one of the most attractive bargain opportunities in the transfer market. But if the price remains extremely high, Liverpool may also consider alternative centre-back options across Europe. So the big question for Liverpool fans is this: should the Reds push hard to sign Micky van de Ven this summer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this update, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Liverpool transfer news.
Alexis Mac Allister provides Liverpool contract update amid Real Madrid transfer interest. Liverpool FC midfielder Alexis McAllister has addressed growing speculation about his long-term future at Anfield, insisting there is currently no urgency over signing a new contract. The Argentine international still has just over 2 years remaining on his existing Liverpool deal, but recent reports have suggested uncertainty around whether the club will open negotiations soon. This discussion comes shortly after teammate Ryan Gravenberch signed a new brand contract with Liverpool that will keep him at the club until the summer of 2032. Speaking ahead of Liverpool's Champions League clash with Galatasaray SK, McAllister first took time to congratulate Gravenberch on his new deal. He said the Dutch midfielder fully deserves the extension after playing such an important role for the team, particularly during the season Liverpool lifted the Premier League title. However, when it comes to his own situation, McAllister confirmed that no contract negotiations are currently taking place. The Argentine midfielder admitted that talks have not even started yet, but made it clear he is completely relaxed about the situation. His father, Carlos McAllister, had already revealed earlier that Liverpool had not opened discussions with the player regarding a new contract. McAllister himself backed that up by saying there is simply no rush at this stage of his career. Despite his importance to the squad, the 2022 World Cup winner has not always produced his best performances under Arne Slot this season. That dip in consistency could play a role in Liverpool's decision on whether to push forward with negotiations or reassess the situation later. If the club remain uncertain about his long-term role, they could potentially consider offers during the summer transfer window while his contract still holds strong value. One club frequently linked with the midfielder is Real Madrid CF, who are expected to be searching for a new central midfielder in the upcoming window. There have also been suggestions of interest from Manchester United FC, although a move to one of Liverpool's biggest rivals would appear highly unlikely. For now, McAllister remains fully focused on Liverpool's season as the Reds continue to compete for major honours both domestically and in Europe. But the big question for fans is this: should Liverpool push to extend McAllister's contract soon or wait to see how his form develops?
Gary Lineker sends Trent Alexander-Arnold message after Andy Robertson admission. Gary Lineker believes Liverpool FC are still missing the creativity of Trent Alexander-Arnold following his departure to Real Madrid CF last summer. Alexander-Arnold's exit came during a major transition at Anfield after Liverpool's title-winning season, as new manager Arne Slot began reshaping the squad. Part of that rebuild included signing Milos Kerkez, who has largely replaced Andy Robertson as Liverpool's first-choice left-back. Under former boss Jurgen Klopp, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold were Liverpool's main creative outlets from the fullback positions. Speaking on the Rest is Football podcast, Lineker believes Liverpool are still missing that attacking creativity on both flanks. He explained that although Robertson is still at the club, his reduced playing time means the team has lost much of the creativity that once came from the fullback areas. Meanwhile, Slot appears to be building a different attacking system, with signings such as Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, shaping Liverpool's new forward line. However, the transition has not been completely smooth, with Liverpool still fighting to secure Champions League qualification. Kerkez initially struggled after arriving from Bournemouth, which led to calls for Andy Robertson to receive more playing time. The situation could become even more interesting this summer, with Robertson's contract nearing its end and reports previously linking him with a move to Tottenham Hotspur FC. If Robertson leaves, the pressure will increase on Kerkez to become Liverpool's long-term solution at left-back. Do you agree with Gary Lineker? Are Liverpool really missing the creativity of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson?
Liverpool's FA Cup draw outcome blasted as rigged as unusual moment spotted. Liverpool FC will travel to face Manchester City FC in the FA Cup quarter-finals after Monday's draw, but the result has sparked controversy among fans. Liverpool reached the last 8 after victories over Barnsley, Brighton and Wolves, with goals from Andy Robertson, Mohamed Salah and Curtis Jones, sealing a 3-1 win at Molineux in the previous round. For Arne Slot, the FA Cup could represent Liverpool's best chance of silverware this season, as they sit well behind Arsenal FC in the Premier League title race. However, their path has now become significantly tougher after being drawn away at the Etihad against last season's FA Cup runners-up. City, managed by Pep Guardiola, reached the quarter-finals after eliminating Exeter City, Salford City and Newcastle United. The quarter-final clash is scheduled to take place at the Etihad Stadium during the weekend of April 4th and 5th, immediately after the international break. Liverpool fans quickly reacted online after noticing a moment during the draw that raised eyebrows. Former players Joe Cole and Joe Hart conducted the draw, but viewers claimed Hart appeared to glance inside the bowl before selecting the ball that paired Liverpool with Manchester City. That brief moment led to accusations from some supporters who questioned whether the draw had been completely fair. Several fans took to social media suggesting the matchup looked suspicious, especially as rivals received seemingly easier opponents. Chelsea FC were drawn against Port Vale, while Arsenal were paired with Southampton, leading some supporters to claim Liverpool received the toughest possible draw. Despite the controversy, the quarter-final tie will set up one of the biggest matches of the FA Cup season. So the question for Liverpool fans is simple: can the Reds go to the Etihad and knock Manchester City out of the FA Cup? Let me know your prediction in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Liverpool updates.